I'm just going to start with saying that if you are a male, you should probably click off of this video now. What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know who I am, my name is Beth, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing all of the weirdest, most bizarre, freakiest things that no one told me about pregnancy. These are bizarre symptoms that I've experienced, and I am exposing myself today. I am spilling the tea. We are going there. It's going to be very TMI, so this is for women only. If you are watching this with your boyfriend, your partner, or your dad, please tell them to exit the room, or you exit the room, because this is about to get a little intense. This is going to be a little bit of a sit-down girl talk video where I get into some of the weirdest things that have happened over the last 3 trimesters of pregnancy, and I'll let you guys know what you can expect. I am officially 31 weeks pregnant at the time of filming this video, and so I have tracked with all of the crazy symptoms through first trimester, second trimester, and into third, and I wanted to wait to film this video even though I did experience some weird stuff in the earlier trimesters, because I thought, you know what, if it's this weird now, it might get weirder as we go, and it did. And so I have a full list on my phone of things that I have written down throughout the process where I was like, what the heck is going on? And those are the things that I'm going to be sharing with you today. So grab a cup of coffee. I already drank mine today, and I can't have more than one a day in pregnancy. So I have my water here, staying hydrated. We're gonna go through these things, and you guys get to know a little bit about the wonderful, wonderful things that you can expect when you are pregnant. A disclaimer that I'll say on this is that not all of these things may be symptoms that you have or will eventually experience when you get pregnant someday. Everyone's pregnancy is different, and I've asked a couple of my friends before, like, hey, did you have this? And they would say no. A couple of them I did ask later on once I experienced it, and they were like, oh yeah, I actually had that too. And so I will just say that don't take this as like, this is what will happen to you. Everyone's experience is different, and so of course I'm just speaking from what happened to me in hopes that it could help you out. Alright, so for the first 2, we will stay mild. The first one that happened to me is that my hair actually became less greasy in pregnancy as time went on. In first trimester, my hair was extremely greasy for the first couple of weeks. I literally looked like I was going through puberty again. Like, I could not just use dry shampoo. I had to wash it like every single day. It was so greasy. But then it was like overnight in the transition into first trimester, into second trimester, where all of a sudden my hair just like was not getting greasy anymore. And I literally like went from washing it every single day or every other day back when it was so greasy to washing it 2 times a week. Like, I only wash my hair twice a week now. I use dry shampoo in between, and it holds up really well. And honestly, like on the days that I am washing it, I probably could even go a little bit longer. That's like how much the greasiness of the hair has decreased since then. But it was like a weird kind of thing where it started on the opposite end of the spectrum and ended up in this place as well. So I mean, that's a fun perk of pregnancy, is that like you really do have more hair growing in your head. Like, it becomes more full, it becomes more like luscious and just like voluminous. I know that all of that is supposed to end as soon as I give birth, and apparently it's all gonna fall out anyway. But you will definitely enjoy those couple of weeks where your hair does get less greasy and you're able to do different things with it. You're able to worry less about like having to style it all the time. That is one thing that I didn't expect and definitely enjoyed throughout pregnancy. So the next one that I'll share is another one that is more like on the softer side. It's actually kind of sweet. It's a nice one that I threw in here, but it also was one of those things that was very bizarre to me and I didn't expect to happen so soon. In the first couple of weeks of first trimester, I found that alongside all of the baby brain that came with that time, my brain was literally starting to rewire to become more maternal, like that. There is so much research that actually points to the fact that women's brains do change during pregnancy, and that those changes actually have lasting effects beyond pregnancy and into motherhood. And it's this process of like rewiring to become more maternal. It helps you to prepare to take care of a baby, to have a child come into the world that is now your own. And for me, I felt the changes that were happening in my brain brain like so early on because I started to react to things differently, and I don't think that it was just hormonal. I know hormones have so much to do with like first trimester and like the surge of all the things that you're feeling, but I personally have never been someone that, like, if I was in a room of a bunch of people and they were crying, like, I won't start crying. Like, I could be in the most serious of situations, literally on like the day that I got engaged. I, for whatever reason, cannot cry when I'm like under pressure or there's like a surge of emotions or whatever else. Like, I just don't. I think that I kind of just like become more like on a little bit instead of just like feeling things. Like, my brain goes before my like heart does, if that makes sense. But in pregnancy, that shifted where I feel like I lost my brain and everything was like heart first. Like, I would see literally a cute dog and like watch it like fall or something and start sobbing, or I would like know that a friend was going through a hard time and immediately like have this like desire to just like jump in and be there for them and reach out and take care of them. I like wanted to do more to take care of Jared and my dog Max and like all these different things. I just became more maternal like super quickly. Like, it felt like it happened overnight, and that was one of the coolest changes that I experienced because I did not think that that would happen even before the baby came. But I was so thrown off by it, and to this day I'm still kind of like, am I crying when I see like other people cry, or I know that someone's going through something? I just feel like I have gained a lot of compassion and empathy and like more of that maternal side that I didn't have as much of before I got pregnant. All right, so for this next one, I have gone back and forth, honestly, with the next two. I've gone back and forth about whether or not I should share it, because I know that the internet is very public, and once I say this, it's gonna be out there, and it's not that bad. Like, it's something that literally everybody does, but it's very exposing. So the next bizarre thing that I experienced in pregnancy, and this one happened as soon as my like belly popped. So probably around like 15, 16, 17 weeks is when I started noticing this, and it has only increased over time, is that when you are pregnant, because of the way that your body shifts like inside to make room for the baby, the placenta, like all the things that are going on in there, your rectum also shifts and is in a different position, in a different kind of orientation, let's say, than it was before. And in my case, it is like a straight up C-U shape in there. And that is what all of my poos look like in pregnancy. They are full on C's or U's. Like, I'm talking like that. And I have not ever had that in my life. Like, I don't know what the situation is. I Googled this because I was like, is there something wrong with me? Like, I don't know what's going on. I asked friends, like, no one had this. And so I looked it up, and apparently like the C or the U shape is actually like how it's supposed to be positioned, but I guess like in my case, it might have been positioned differently. And then as soon as I got pregnant and the placenta kind of shifted things, it almost like shifted it into that position. So if you are brave enough to let me know what the shape of your poops are looking like in and outside of pregnancy in the comments below, maybe we can get to the bottom of this. But I had never had that happen to me before, and it is without fail, like every single time I have gone to the bathroom in that way in pregnancy, it has been a full C or a full U or whatever you want to call it, and it is shocking. It is one of the most bizarre things, and the only explanation that I can think of is the way that a woman's like intestines and stuff move around in pregnancy. I don't know. Please tell me I'm not the only one that has experienced this so that I can sleep at night. The next one is one that, again, is more sensitive, it's more private, so I won't go too into detail on it. However, it is one that will happen to every single woman that gets pregnant. It's just a part of what happens and the changes that happen in your body. And so, I mean, we all know that the girls change in pregnancy. They gotta get bigger. Milk comes in after you have your baby, like 3 days after, something like that. And your boobs are changing. Like, that's just something that happens. And when you're a first-time mom, some of those changes might be super bizarre or weird to you. And for me, they were. And one of the changes that happened that I did not know was going to happen, and I feel like would have been helpful to know so that I wouldn't have like freaked out or been like, what the heck is going on, is that the nips, they change color a little bit. There is more pigmentation that is happening in your body. I don't know why. Your body just tends to create more pigment when you're pregnant. And so for some people that can mean skin getting darker in certain parts all over. But you will notice that the areola area will get darker in pregnancy, and that is totally normal. It's totally fine. I can confirm that I researched this and read up on it afterwards to confirm that I wasn't the only one that this is happening to, but apparently it can actually like get increasingly darker over pregnancy. So with the size change that is happening, you can also expect color to be different. So don't let that freak you out if you are a first-time mom and it threw you off like it threw me off. It is okay, and it is part of the process. Oh no. We're just gonna have to roll with that now. I feel like I'm nervous. Like, I feel like I'm on edge as I film this right now. We're gonna keep going. Gonna keep pushing myself here. The next one that I experienced, this is probably on this list the most bizarre one, and the one that I have not found anyone else that has experienced it, at least not in my circle. I have found like threads on like Reddit and Quora and stuff like that, just from quick Google searches of people that have experienced this, but I have asked like every single mom that I know, like, did this happen to you? And no one has said yes. So I have felt like a weirdo, and I am excited to share it because I'm hoping that other people will have experienced it and can help me feel less alone on this one. But for the first few times that I felt my baby kick, they were not kicks to my stomach, they were not kicks to my side, they were not kicks anywhere I expected to feel the first kicks. The first few that I felt until probably like 22 or 23 weeks were all directly to my butthole. Like, that's where she was kicking. That's where I felt every single kick. And I didn't feel a single kick to my stomach, I kid you not, like for weeks, because every single time, because of where she was, it was like they were downward. And at first I couldn't tell if they were kicks or not, because I was like, is this me needing to go to the bathroom? Like, I mean, you feel things down there outside of pregnancy when you need to do that. And so I had no idea like what was going on until eventually I was like, no, those are for sure like her tiny kicks. And then they started to shift up a little bit, I think, as she got bigger. But maybe it's just the position of like how my placenta is, like where she likes to sit when she's in there. But the first few kicks were literally to my butt. And every single time I was like, oh my gosh, like she's kicking so much right now. People would be like, can I feel it? Like, can I put my hand on your stomach? And I was like, well, it's my butthole, so no. And my husband literally, like, for the longest time, he felt like one small flutter or one small kick in the early days. And then it was such a long time before he felt anything again, like probably like 26, 27 weeks, if not beyond that, because every single time was to my butt. And that is just kind of how she did her thing. So if you experience that, let me know. Like, if you don't want to do it in the comments, you can do it over on my Instagram. But I am curious if any other moms have had that happen. It is one of the weirdest things and one of the weirdest feelings that I like have ever felt in my life. Like, I don't know how else to describe it other than someone literally going like that, like to your butt. It is bizarre, but at the end of the day, it's a great sign that she's alive and well, so we dealt with it. The next one that I'm gonna share is a little bit more on the tame side again. Gives me a second to breathe and kind of regain my composure after I've just exposed myself on the internet multiple times. But it's that your leg hair can actually slow down in terms of growth in pregnancy, and it is something that I have experienced. I had heard from a lot of women that in pregnancy I would experience growth kind of all over, whether that is the hair on my head, the hair on my legs, even fingernail growth, all of these different things. But I would say that in my case, I actually did not experience that to the same degree other than the hair on my head. The hair on my head has grown insanely fast. And like, I just got this colored, but I already have like 2 inches of roots, like literally 3 or 4 weeks after getting it done, because my hair on my head is just growing so quickly. But like in the case of my nails, like they remain brittle. I don't know. I have never had very strong nails. However, the hair on my legs has slowed down tremendously, and it wasn't like super crazy beforehand, but in pregnancy, I have found that I can go like once a week or even once every 2 weeks and still confidently put on like a dress and show my legs to the world, which is not something that I had experienced before. So that has been a really great perk, honestly, because it is so much harder to shave and to like lean over when you have especially like a bump in the 3rd trimester. I'm glad that in like April and May and even June leading up to her due date that I can wear like dresses and skirts and shorts and benefit from the fact that like my leg hair has slowed down significantly and I don't need to be constantly shaving my legs to be able to confidently go out and wear things like that. The next thing that can and might happen, again, doesn't happen for everybody, when you get pregnant is that you might pee every time you sneeze. Every single time you sneeze. And I have talked to multiple moms that have had this happen in pregnancy and then have had it literally never go away after having their babies, and like literally to this day are about to go into menopause and are still peeing every time they sneeze. And for me, it was around the like 21, maybe 22 week mark where the baby started to get a little bit heavier that I found that I would pee like just a little bit every single time I sneezed. I will say that I no longer have this issue as of 31 weeks, and it didn't magically go away. I actually have done quite a bit of work and training to reverse that and to prepare my body for birth, and I'm going to share a little bit more about all of that in a video that I'm going to be posting in a couple of weeks, so I won't give all of the details away now. However, I have reversed the curse. I no longer pee every single time I sneeze, but that is something that I was experiencing for the first little bit, and it was just the worst feeling because I would like get ready for the day, I'd be good to go, getting ready to go out the door, and then all of a sudden I would sneeze and I was just like, okay, back upstairs, we're gonna change, we're gonna go back to the drawing board for the day and get ready to go. But you don't have to live that way. I would just say that. So stay tuned for my future video where I talk a little bit about how I'm kind of preparing for a newborn and all of those things, because I will address that in there. But do not be surprised if that's something that happens to you. It's all about the strength of your pelvic floor and what it's actually able to withstand, and it is something that you can strengthen, so do not fret. Next one, and this is my second last one, is also kind of a little bit in relation to the whole pelvic floor zone, but once I hit my 3rd trimester, was not aware that there were multiple drops, let's say, in pregnancy. Most people know that before you have your baby, there is something that happens to your bump where it drops, gets a little bit lower, and that's essentially the baby preparing to actually exit the womb for birth. However, many moms will experience a first of kind of 2 drops that might happen in the 3rd trimester, either at the start of it, in the middle of it, whatever, before that last drop happens before birth. So in my case, I had no idea that that was possible, and I just kind of thought that like baby dropping meant I was going into labor. So I'm sure you know where this is going, but when I hit 3rd trimester, I think probably a week into it, I remember there was one day that I stood up and it just felt like this baby was so low, you guys. Like, it felt like I was about to have her. Like, in that moment, right then, right there, I immediately sat down and then eventually was like, okay, I have to get up again. Like, I can't just live here now on this couch. So I remember standing up and literally holding everything in because I was like, this baby is going to fall out of me. And I immediately first like texted my sister and I was like, hey, is this normal? Like, I feel like I might be going into labor. Like, I've had some Braxton Hicks. I don't know if that could be like something that's leading up to this. And I actually, like, you guys, I called my OB and like didn't get a hold of her, but left a voice message like, I don't know if this should be happening to me, but I feel like my baby's head is going to drop out of me right now. Can you confirm if this is normal? And eventually she did call me back and she was like, yeah, you've probably just experienced 1 of 2 drops. Like, it's fine. That feeling will intensify on the second one. And like, when you're going into labor, you will know. But it was terrifying. I did not see it coming. And it was one of the most bizarre feelings, but can confirm she's still in there. She's cozy. We're not going into labor just yet. you may experience that same feeling, and know that it is part of the process. It's all good. I have saved the best one for last, in my opinion, because this one is one of the weirdest things that has happened to my body literally ever. Like, one of the weirdest things I've seen, one of the weirdest things I've felt. Did not know that it was possible, and it is so disturbing to me. So I have a belly button that is very much an innie. My belly button, if you can like think of an innie, like think of the innermost innie that you could have, like that's what I have. So personally, when people were talking about like how your belly button can pop and like it can kind of pop out, whatever else, I was like, that's not gonna happen to me. And so of course, like my belly button has gotten flatter as my stomach has expanded, but I still wouldn't say that it is actually like out, like it's not protruding. I can wear a dress and my stomach was like flat with the bump because the belly button has just kind of flattened out. However, there was a day that I was sitting outside on the back deck of our new house, and I was like out there with the dog in the sun, and I kind of leaned back a little bit. And one of the things that they tell you not to do in pregnancy is to kind of use your core too much, because there's certain movements like sit-ups or even like Russian twists or things like that that can actually cause coning, which is kind of like the separation of your ab muscles. Like it can send things upward like in a cone. It's hard to explain. Google it, it'll do a better job of explaining than I will. But I leaned back just a little bit, kind of forgetting that like when you're pregnant, it's better to shift to your side and then go from that direction than it is to just go straight back, because you probably will cause some sort of like further ab separation or coning or whatever else, which is something you want to avoid. So anyways, I did that, and I was leaning back, and you guys, my belly button, it looked like it fell out of my stomach. It was fully protruded beyond the point of like just being kind of like flush with my, like it was out. It like didn't stay that way, but as my stomach was coning, the full innie was a full outie. Like it was fully on the outside of my stomach, and it immediately, like as I went back down, went back in. But you guys, when I saw it, I screamed. I like out loud screamed, and I don't know, I hope the neighbors didn't hear me, but it terrified me to no end to see my belly button in that way, because I have never seen a belly button look like that. Like it looked like something out of a movie, and it was one of the most bizarre things that has ever happened to me with my body ever. So if you have experienced that, if your belly button has done that just like naturally in pregnancy, let me know, because I want to like know that this has happened to other people before. Again, I talked to some of my friends that have been pregnant or are currently pregnant, and they're like, no, I've literally never seen my belly button do that with an innie. So please confirm again that I'm not crazy, but I wanted to share that horror story with you guys. Luckily it's back in, we're good. No further like popping out to report since that day, but now I think I am kind of on edge that at some point it's just gonna like fully extend out like that and just be like that forever. So pray for me, we don't want that to happen. Well, that is all that I have for today in terms of crazy and bizarre symptoms that I've experienced during pregnancy. Honestly, I will just summarize by saying that pregnancy is the most incredible thing that I have ever experienced. It is so cool to see what women's bodies are capable of doing, and the fact that we can literally grow a human life. And so, I mean, all of the weird and bizarre things that are happening because of that kind of just pale in comparison to the reality that's like, I am growing a human right now, and that is so cool. So all of the crazy and bizarre things are worth it, and whether you are a mom and you can relate to some of these things already, or you are someone that is planning on becoming a mom someday or being pregnant, I hope that you enjoyed this video, that you could get a good laugh out of some of the things that I've experienced, or that it can prepare you for the future and what could be something that you will experience someday as well. So if you guys want to see more baby related content or pregnancy related content, let me know. I do have like 9 or 10 weeks left until the due date, so there is some time to share more of that type of stuff if that's what you guys want to see. So leave a comment down below if you want more of that stuff. But I would also love for you guys to like this video before you head out today and subscribe to my channel. It really does mean the world to me every single time I see a new subscriber come through. It's just so cool that I'm able to go along this whole pregnancy and motherhood journey with you guys and with the little community that we are creating. So make sure you do that today. But until next week's video, I love you guys. I'm praying for you guys, and I will see you soon. Gosh. I need to grow up. I don't know why this is so like hard for me to talk about. Obviously we need to talk about this stuff more. Okay.